How was practice today?
I thought it was good practice. We had a good spirited practice, better than average.
Arizona made some obviously coaching changes. Do they look different defensively than they did last year, schematically?
Pretty similar on defense. Yeah, pretty similar on defense, I think, to last year. A little more four-man front.
What are their strengths? Is it just kind of the caliber of athletes they have back there?
I think they're fast. You know, they seem to run pretty well. It seems like receivers don't get a lot of separation on them, and then they're gritty and tough up front. Just sort of thick and active.
There was a stat today on Pro Football Focus that EJ Winston hasn't dropped a pass in 43 catches. Is that a pretty rare number to have that many catches without a single drop?
I haven't really thought about it. I don't know. That's a good question. I haven't. We count the drops that everybody has, and we'll have a total at the end of the season. But I've never really checked streaks.
Is there any punishment for a drop the next week? Sort of how that is for a fumble for running backs?
No, not for drops. Oh, if somebody gets too many, there probably would be, but yeah.
A few of the guys we talked to kind of talked about the chemistry of this team and how last year maybe there were a few guys who weren't buying in completely. You guys don't have that necessarily this year, and that's partially what's led to the success. Do you kind of agree with that assessment?
Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate. I think, there were a couple non-buy-in guys where you tried to, keep dragging them on board. But I think there's a more of a sense of urgency with this group, to play together and do what they're asked to do. Less, just less. Guys doing it their way, or less street ball. We haven't had a lot of street ball this year where guys are just trying to make judgments on plays, and rather than do their job, go somewhere where they think the ball's going to be, or think, I'll go here and, try to outguess the play,
Is it more common to have a few non-buy-in guys on a team with the roster being so big and so many guys to kind of account for?
Well, there's a few. There's always a few, and then there's guys that totally buy in. There's guys that are thinking about whether or not they're going to buy in, and the better your locker room is, the fewer that there are, because the peer pressures. You want an environment where the peer pressure is pretty hard on a guy that doesn't buy in, and then if he's too, if he still doesn't buy in, then you cut him.
Colorado, I think they're parting ways with Coach McIntyre. That was kind of announced today at the end of the season. Is that surprising to hear, just kind of based on their start, the fact that they were in a title game a couple of years ago?
What happened?
Coach McIntyre at Colorado, they're supposedly parting ways with him at the end of the year.
Well, that surprises me. I find it pretty surprising. I think he does a good job, and he's a good coach and a good guy.
Does that kind of show you the nature of being a coach? You kind of have to keep your head on a swivel. As good of a start as they had, something like that can still happen.
Yeah, that's always a factor, no question. Yeah. Shoot, I know a guy that won 9 games and got fired, so,
Like that one back clinic you mentioned that where you first met someone, was there a certain amount of camaraderie among the coaches in a get-together like that during that period?
Yeah, there's a lot. As a matter of fact, you got to know people scattered all around the country that, and then folks kept in touch and knew each other after that, too. It was basically you'd clinic all day. Everybody would talk about, their scheme or whatever, and then, you'd take notes when the other guys are talking, and then I can't remember where we ate and whatnot, but then everybody'd go to the sports page. So there's about 2 nights worth of sports page where you'd really get to know each other,
The 9-win coach that you said got fired, who was that?
Me.
Oh.
Got good with Coach? All right.